Hey, everybody, it's Big Daddy. So, of course, Big Daddy and friends, that's why we're here. And as always, I promise all the listeners and all the viewers that I want to bring people that I know truly understand the game, the sport. They've been in it, they're still in it, and they know how to educate and teach people how the ins and outs of sports work. So, I had to bring someone on a little bit smarter than me today. So the one and only, my friend, Mr. Marc Ross. How you doing, Mark?
Thank you, man. That's a great introduction. I appreciate that, man. I'm doing good, getting over a little bit of flu, but I'm fighting through, but I'm doing great, man. Ready for this holiday season.
Yeah, I hear you, man. It seems like it's going around because I had it about 2 weeks ago. I came in, I woke up on a Monday, and I'm like, man, I got hit like with a brick, and it tied me up for about 5 days, and
Yep.
then you suck it up and you go. And
Yep.
we know this better than anybody. Sometimes you got to play hurt.
No doubt. No doubt, man. You gotta get up and go, man.
Yeah.
But my wife was keeping me locked up. She didn't want to get it, but her and my daughter to get it. So that was a tough part, just trying to break free from her clutches of keeping me locked up in the room.
Yeah, I was solo, so I was just like in the dungeon, just have the food put under the door and whatever soup and orange juice and hot tea to get me through. But anyway, so listen, I obviously know you and know your history and everything. So nowadays, everybody sees you on NFL Network, everyone sees you ESPN, everyone sees you all over the place. But let's give a little history of how you got started in the world of football and share a little bit about you started somewhere and where you're at and where you're going.
Yeah, man. So originally from the Philadelphia area, Delaware County, and then went to Princeton, played football at Princeton. And while I was at Princeton, I needed a work study job, man. My dad's a public school teacher in North Philadelphia, so needed work study, man, despite the great package Princeton gave me. So the coach that recruited me, he walked me down to the sports communications department, told those guys, give Mark a job. So I started working in sports communications, and from there, I got to see all the behind the scenes of sports, not just a coach and a player. It was like, wow, I was hanging out with all the ADs and got to see everything that happened behind the scenes. So when I was graduating Princeton, back then you got to just type up. This was 1995. You got to type up, kids won't know, type up resumes and get them copied and put them in envelopes, type that all up and just send them all out. I wanted to stay in the sports business. So I was just trying to just get in anywhere I could, just anywhere I could. And eventually my first internship was actually with the Giants with Pat Hanlon and their sports communications department and their PR department, which it was called. And from there, I could have stayed there for the year, but didn't really want to do that. And after that, I just was sending resumes out and just trying to get jobs. And got an internship with Columbia University, working in their athletic department doing compliance because I thought I might want to be an AD at the time. Did that year there, but I don't know if this is really for me. And at the time, I started applying to grad schools for sport management through the advice of someone at Princeton that I had known. And I had got into UMass grad school, but then that summer, I got an internship with the Eagles in their scouting department. When I did that internship in the scouting department, I said, this is it. This is my career right here. I got to do this. Was fortunate after grad school to get hired full-time by the Eagles in their scouting department. And from there, my career just kind of took off. At the time, I was there pre-Andy Reid. I was there with Ray Rhodes and who was the head coach, and John Wooten and Dick Daniels were the personnel directors there. It was right after really Jeffrey Lurie had kind of bought the team, but then got there through the transition with Andy Reid and was part of the squad that put together those teams that went to all those NFC championship games and the Super Bowl. And from there, I went to the Bills and worked for the Bills for 3 years from 2004 to 2007 as kind of a national scout. And then in 2007, when Jerry Reese became the GM at the Giants, he needed somebody to replace him at the Giants during his role as college director. And I had known Jerry just through passing, didn't really have I had a good relationship with him, but wasn't really friends with him, just kind of a mutual respect sort of thing. And came in, did the interview deal with John Mara and Jerry and Chris Mara, all those people, and got the job as director of college scouting with the Giants in 2007, which eventually took us to 2 Super Bowls and had a nice run there with the Giants. And then
I witnessed your work firsthand.
Yeah, you did. Yes, you did. A lot of games. You were at a lot of games. And then, once Jerry got let go, I got let go with Jerry when Gettleman came in there, just part of the residual effect of that. And then started working kind of a dual role where I was starting out with the NFL Network. They kind of work you in slowly, give you some shows, give you some weeks, and then build you up, see if you can do the job or if they like you. But from there, I was also working in consultant in the NFL league office in football ops with Troy Vincent on that side. I had known Troy Vincent since he was a player with the Eagles and I was an intern way back then. That's when I first got to know him. So we've had a long-standing professional and personal relationship. So was doing kind of both there, consulting with the NFL league office, doing NFL Network. My NFL Network work has kind of broadened. But then with that, a year ago, actually, the XFL started back up. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock bought the XFL with Danny Garcia, his business partner, and Redbird Capital, and they bought the XFL, and they were looking for a football ops director, executive vice president of football ops. Interviewed for that, was fortunate to get that. They kind of sought me out, like what I had done, and bring some respectability to the league. And so for a year, I've been doing the XFL, trying to get this off the ground. We start in a month in February. So I've been doing that, but still doing my NFL Network work. So pretty much, man, I've been on all parts of the NFL, on the team side, the league side, the network side, and now I'm part of a new league starting up where I'm touching all aspects of it. So it's been a fun ride, man.
So that Bobby Monica's a part of your
Yeah, Bobby's our equipment guy, man. Piece of work.
I'm glad. I can't wait to let him listen to this one. But
yeah.
Bobby is the Tony Soprano of sports. I know him since Neil O'Donnell was my college roommate, and he played for Bobby's dad in Madison High School in New Jersey. Yeah. So I've known Bobby since when I was at Maryland with Neil.
I'll text him when we get off of this, man. He'll call me right away. He's got stories upon stories, man. You get him on here, you might not ever get off.
No, I know. I would need 2 hours with him because he'd be like, "Hey, Big Daddy, you remember when?" He's definitely, he could write a book.
Yes,
he could definitely write a book. It would probably be a dictionary, not just a book. He's so thick you couldn't get enough in there.
He sends me emails and texts, and I just got to sit down and just get a glass of wine and sit because they're so long. I'm like, Bobby, just cut it down, man. Come on, man, just cut it down.
It's funny. I every time I get down to Florida, I try to give him a call, and then it was funny. One time I had a golf outing I had to play in, and I called Bobby. I was like, Bobby, you're going to be me for the outing because I got a meeting. I can't miss this meeting. He came right over and
sure did, man. One of a kind. One of a kind.
So, he is one of a kind. But Russ Brandon, right? Is he?
Yeah, Russ is our president. Russ is our team president. Doug Whaley's our senior vice president of player personnel. Doug was the GM at the Bills for a while. Pittsburgh, long run at Pittsburgh. So yeah, we got a lot of dudes with a lot of NFL experience that are a part of it.
No, that's why you would think it would be successful because you don't have the dentist operating on the knee. You have these specialists that specialize and have been there and done that.
Yeah. That was the main part of when they got it off the ground is that, look, we got to get legit football people involved with this. And when I interviewed, the first part of it was, look, we got to work with the NFL. With things. We can't be anti-NFL. That makes absolutely no sense. So, that's been one of the exciting parts of it is that, the NFL, and we're helping them out with certain aspects, initiatives with health and safety and officiating and rules. And, we'll try things out. If they like it, they'll implement it. And So it's really been good, and that's all due to the relationships we've had with people there, specifically, my relationship with Troy Vincent and how far we've gone back.
And, for me, it's funny because I have relationships now with everyone in that upper management group. It's knowing Russ for as long as I know him. And one of the things that was good when he was in Buffalo, my kid brother got hired there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And he's still there. And then Russ, because everybody doesn't realize that my real name is Rich Salgado. Everybody's, Big Daddy. So when Russ is like, you have a brother on our staff, what's his name? And then I'm like, Jim Salgado. They're like, that's your brother. And you know how many times that's happened throughout the years where people don't realize that, there was, I have a younger brother. So,
but you got to tell them where your younger brother got trained, Big Daddy. Where did he get trained?
Listen, at Princeton, Listen, two guys that always remind me, Frank Vuno and Steve Mills. The two of them. They've always said, don't forget, your brother was at Princeton.
That's right. That's the proving ground there. But speaking of Steve Mills, small world, when I came out and I talked about when I was graduating Princeton and leaned on a lot of Princeton alums who were in the sports business to help me out. And Steve was one of those guys that he was, what was he, the NBA at the time, and big wig with the NBA. He's been a big wig everywhere he's been, but really a guy that I could talk to and was an outstanding mentor for me when I was graduating and trying to get in the sports business. So tremendous guy.
Yeah, he's a Long Island guy, and I knew his brother when I was a kid growing up. His brother used to say, my brother's playing basketball and he's going to be in the NBA. Yeah. And one day he's going to be an owner, and you're kind of like, oh, okay, whatever, And all of a sudden, 20 years go by, and I'm like sitting with Steve Mills going, your brother Doug used to rave about you when we were kids. And I'm like, here I am in front of greatness, because that's what I consider him.
No question, man.
Very established, well-polished. His resume speaks volumes, and you can never question a guy like that because he's been there, done it, seen it, and he's produced.
At the highest level, man, yeah.
Yep, exactly. So, but anyway, so now let's talk a little NFL real quick. Right now, if you had to pick an MVP, who would you say it is?
Oh, man. I got to go, despite Micah Parsons, how he came out on Jalen yesterday, crushing Jalen. Like, man, come on, Micah. That's not the way to get ready for 2 weeks from now with that big game.
That's what do you call it? Bulletin board material.
Bulletin board, serious, 2 weeks ahead of time. Look, coming into the season, I went to the Eagles camp and training camp, and I said, this team can be legit just because of all the way Howie Roseman had put that team together and all those guys up front. It reminded me of our Giants days with all those guys that they had loaded up front. I said, they are going to cause problems with all these dudes they got up front. Right. And he wasn't even done then. Then he went and got Gardner Johnson and a couple other pieces. And on offense, they had so many playmakers there, and they had that offensive line. I said, it's all about how much Jalen Hurts ascends. And those days I was at practice and watching, like, you could see a difference in Jalen. I always loved Jalen as far as his aura, his leadership, his command, his playmaking. It was just, okay, man, he just had to develop on certain areas of the passing game, and he's done that tremendously. I mean, you have to give this dude credit where he has taken that leap, but he had the foundation. Everybody expects everybody to take that leap, Big Daddy. Like, you got to have the foundation of greatness in you first. You can't be a bum and say, oh, let's just see unforeseen talents. Like, oh, yeah, he's going to be great. Jalen Hurts always kind of had this greatness in him. It always exuded his whole life. And now he's just taking that step again here with the Eagles. And yeah, despite what Micah says, I got to give it to Jalen just because of how he commands and controls the whole entire game. He's never flustered. He consistently makes plays. So I got to give it to him right now.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. He's, listen, he's the pedigree. Not only does he go from one place to another, from Alabama to Oklahoma, and still plays at the same level.
Yeah,
It's not, that's not easy to do.
Yeah, he wasn't going from Alabama to Alabama State and dropping down. Yeah. He goes from one blue blood to another and steps in at day one. Okay, I'm just going to be the Heisman Trophy runner-up, and we're going to win 11 games and win the Big 12 and be in the playoffs. I mean, he was like that in high school. Everything that dude has done has been greatness. He doesn't know any other way. That's the only thing. It's in his DNA. And there's rare guys that are like that exude greatness no matter what they do. And he's done that so far. And, I picked them to go to the Super Bowl before the season. And now I picked them and KC to get to the bowl and KC to edge them out. But now I'm hedging my bets there on to see if the Eagles could just take it all.
So you're going with Kansas City on the AFC side.
I am. I got to go with, look, it's really, when you look at the AFC, it's Bills, KC, and Cincinnati, the way I look at it. And, some of those other teams just don't have the elements, I don't think, to carry on. Baltimore's, they're on fumes. They're running on fumes on their third quarterback, and Tennessee's kind of hit the wall with what they can do with that squad. Miami, I think, has been exposed the last couple of weeks or so. It's really those three teams, and Kansas City has lost to both of those. They lost to Buffalo and they lost to Cincinnati head-to-head. But in a couple of weeks, Buffalo has to go play at Cincinnati, which is going to be the game of the year of that week. So that'll be fun. And when you look at KC's schedule, I think they'll win out. They got a pretty easy schedule winning out, which will get them that home field advantage. And look, I'm never going to bet against Patrick Mahomes. Either one of those teams beating him twice in a year would be, that's a tough task. And I've worked with Andy Reid for 8 years, so I know what he can do and what he brings as far as being a leader of a team. So I got to go with KC.
I got it.
And half that, all that whole coaching staff there at KC, I work with either Philly or the Giants. I mean, it's, they got Spags and Merritt. They got all those ex-Giants and ex-Eagles coaches there on that staff that I work with.
Well, it's funny. I've known Andy since his days in Philly as well. And, Spags. And my brother owes a lot to that whole staff because my brother's part of that Andy Reid, tree because he, Shermer, Spags, Ron Rivera, Andy, my brother interned for all of them, before he got in the league. And there's always a special place in my heart for that group.
Yep.
I still speak to Andy. I speak to Spags. I talk to Maria more than I do. More than
he's better to talk to anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's kind of funny how the world is a circle.
Yeah.
No matter what industry you're in, it is a circle. And you know what? If you do the right thing by people, that's why people ask me, how does someone like me, who never played in the league, have the access, have the relationships, have the whatever you want to call it. Yes, I do work with players and coaches on the insurance side, but I'm not always the insurance salesman when you see me on a Sunday. I'm just me, and I stick out, and there's Big Daddy, and I keep it real. I don't try to force myself on anybody, and that's why I think I have the relationships that I have.
Yeah. That's what it's about, man, being authentic, being your authentic self. And people like it, they like it. They don't, hey, just keep it moving. But you got to be yourself.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. But you sit there and you laugh because, you see guys start at A and they work all the way up to Z. And that's how I've seen even you, because I met you when you were in 2007. That's when I was, Stray and I were like hanging out almost every other week. And I was flying with Steve Tisch to games. And all of a sudden we're in Arizona running on the field because the Giants just won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the people you come in contact with and the people and intertwine. But like you said, man, it's a circle, and it's 1 degree of separation between the NFL and the people that I mean, just like Steve Mills, you bring up Steve Mills, boom. Just like that. You're like, oh, yeah, this guy helped me out when I was there. You just never know who you're in touch with or who you're talking to and who's friends with someone you're friends with. It's and that's the beauty of sports. That's the beauty of being a part of this, man, is that for the most part, people are really looking out for each other and supporting each other and want others to do well. And and be a part of that camaraderie.
Yeah. What always sticks with me is, to obviously 2008, I thought that was the year it was going to be a back-to-back year.
Yeah.
And for me on a personal level, I suffered an aneurysm in the beginning of the year,
Right.
and I missed a little bit of time, but going through that whole year, I was like, man, we get back to the Super Bowl and win this thing. I go, what I went through means nothing, even though people thought I was crazy, but I was like, and then to just see that whole thing not come to fruition, but then in 2011 made up for it.
Yeah, that's the thing. That 2008 team, that was the best Giants team, I think, of that whole run. But again, you look at it like, if we would have won back-to-back, well, we had 2011. It kind of that year set things in motion for the team that we put together in 2011. So if that doesn't happen, we never get Hakeem Nicks, and we never draft Hakeem really, and he destroyed it. That playoff run with what Hakeem did for that playoff run. So in 2011. So it's always that, man, what if? But hey, the losses are tougher than the wins, man. When I was with Philly, man, I lost 3 NFC Championship games, and I remember those more so probably than Super Bowl, where just the agony and the pain of losing those sort of games is always tough.
And I remember those because every year at the Pro Bowl, I was sitting at the pool with Andy.
Yeah, for people who don't know, the loser of the NFC Championship game, the reward was to go coach the Pro Bowl.
Exactly.
Go to Hawaii and go coach again, man, after you just got ripped out of you.
And Andy's on first name basis with everyone at the Ihalani, so it's like
Yes, that was the Philadelphia Eagles Invitational there, coaching the Pro Bowl there, just losing all those games.
So listen, let's let everybody know where they can find you so they can listen, they could learn, they could watch. And again, to all the listeners and viewers out there, if you really want to learn the game and you want to learn the ins and outs and understand on the management level, I'll repeat that, management level, follow Marc Ross, because you will learn a lot. And, hey, he did it in one league. Now he's doing it in another league. So who's doing it?
Yeah, so February, we start the week after the Super Bowl, man. Our first game is the week after the Super Bowl. So look out for us, 8 teams, and we're excited about what we got going on. But, yeah, so, you can catch me on NFL Network Monday, Thursday, Fridays from 1 to 3 on NFL Now, and on Sundays on Game Day Live, either the early slot or the late slot of games. And I'm on Total Access, but they just randomly on those. And, Twitter, I'm at Marc Ross, Mark with a C, and Instagram, I'm Mark A. Ross 2, Mark with a C. Not a huge social dude. I post what I need to. Need to get more. Need to hire a social media manager to help me out with that stuff.
Well, listen, once again, Mark, I want to thank you for joining us here on Big Daddy and Friends, and it's an honor and a privilege to have you on. And it's good to see you because I haven't seen you in a minute. And
I know, man, it's been a while.
It's been a while, and we don't roam the same sidelines anymore. You're on TV and you're in the studio, so you're a big shot now.
Yeah, no, man, no. Come roam the XFL sidelines with us, man. You're always invited to the game. Check the schedule out. Come see what we got going on.
Oh, I will for sure. I definitely will. So. For everyone out there, where you go to listen to your podcast or go on YouTube, Big Daddy and Friends, or you can join us at www.sportsnut, which is spelled NAUT.com. Keep following us. We got some incredible guests like Mark that keep joining us every week, and the show's growing bigger and better. So until next time, I'll see everybody real soon on Big Daddy and Friends. And happy holidays to everyone out there. So again, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and whatever you celebrate, may you celebrate in peace and in joy.